Good day to our amazing listeners, and welcome back to another episode of Sphere Rocket Podcast Network, your go to destination in exclusive conversations with top tier real estate professionals. I'm your host, Sweet, and today we have a privilege to sit down with a remarkable guest. Not only has an array of titles, and also the host of Living in Colorado. So make sure to check that podcast on YouTube. And he is also have an impressive array of titles. Of course, he is the CEO of IHGEXP, an icon agent, a mentor, a real estate fanatic, an Air Force veteran, an IHG consulting expert, and a coach. Okay, and to add a personal touch to that, of course, he is the father of the CEO of and founder of Sphere Rocket Virtual Assistants. So please join me in giving a warm welcome to the incredible Mike Nelson. Hi, Sir Mike.
Hey, how are you? Thanks for the very kind introduction. It was appreciated.
Yeah, it was lovely to have you here in the podcast. It was a pleasure. And yeah, welcome.
Thank you. I'm excited to join you all, and like watching all the big things your company is doing. So it's always an honor for me to jump on here and provide any kind of value that I can.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, so yeah, I'm really thrilled to have you here and know about your expertise, especially with real estate. So let's dive right in with your journey with how you start in the real estate business.
Yeah, no, that's great. So I think a lot of my life experiences and choices in businesses led me to where I am today, specifically in real estate. Looking back at my history, I did 19 years with a company called IBM, kind of an internationally known technology computer. Used to be a scale company when it first started, but anyways, that was way before my time. But I became a first line manager there, completed my college degree, learned how to lead people in a corporate setting per se, a lot of leadership training, things of that nature. Simultaneously, I was doing the Air Force Reserves or the Air National Guard, which is kind of part-time military duty, though it can spin up to full-time duty as necessary and as the nation requires, if you will. So in that case was a different style of leadership that was learned. That was more about survival and keeping all your men and women, surviving in different situations and just leading them to training base, a lot of training base in that capacity, because there's not a lot of time to think in certain situations. So a lot of that is training. So we learned how to be really good trainers, I would say, but also leading men and women was really important in that job role as well. So fast forward to 19 years at IBM, decided to part ways with that company and jumped right into real estate. I was probably 37, 38, somewhere in that neighborhood,
Mm.
39 years old. And I was like, why not? Right. I feel like I've had a lot of experience in business, not really running a business, but being part of a business, right, at pretty high levels. And yeah, that took me right into real estate when I think Justin was my oldest. So he was probably 14 or 15, maybe somewhere in that neighborhood when we jumped into that. So that kind of takes me to where we're at in real estate.
Love that. That's a really long journey with you in getting to the real estate industry. So I'm just
Oh,
curious, Sir Mike. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm just curious, Sir Mike. Like, what was that? Of course, from different industry to to the real estate industry. So, what that spark of inspiration that you had to decide to enter real estate business specifically?
I think it was interesting in the corporate world was a lot of you were kind of it was downward pressure from the top, meaning, hey, we only have this much budget, we can only pay this people this much money. No matter how they perform, if the market's tough, which I get it, right? It's all about making a profit as a business, because if you're not making a profit, you're not in business very long. Yet I wanted to be able to carve my own path, and I felt like I had the discipline. I felt like I had the can-do attitude, kind of the perseverance mindset to get through it. What a lot of entrepreneurs fail out is just that lack of commitment, right, and execution. So those jobs gave me the opportunity to do that, because if you don't execute in the corporate world or in the military, then there's different fallouts from that. But so anyways, that's kind of I believe that that benefited us. So.
Yeah, love that, love that. So now with your, of course, every businesses, now that you're in the real estate industry, of course, every successful business has its unique strength. So would you mind introducing your real estate business with us? And what do you think is your business superpower?
Oh, it's a great question. So, yeah, I think where we are today, we grew a business up until the market shifted here. I would just kind of use those metrics because they're a little better than the last year or so. But the best year we had was around 200 transactions. I think it was like 208, like 72 million in total volume sold. A couple $1 million. I think it's 2.2 million in revenue to the business. So pretty sizable. It put us in like the top half of 1% of realtors across the nation. With those numbers, we were recognized by Real Trends, which is kind of an independent company that verifies credentials through all the companies to make sure people aren't blowing smoke with their numbers. So we were pretty honored to be represented in that like 3 years in a row. I don't think we're going to hit that after last year's numbers. We have seen a little decline with our business, as many have last year. But I think, that's the superpower for me was I'm a very systems guy. I know how to build leverage and build systems around that. So it's not me, myself, and it's we, ourselves, and others, right? Where
Yeah.
we're growing together. I'm no longer interested in building a business by myself. I want partners. And honestly, I include a lot of times the employees on our team as partners. I truly want them to feel like they're a vested part of this business and not just somebody working for, a higher up, shall we say. So I think that's my superpower is not only the leverage piece, but also just the willingness to just go come up with an idea and go figure it out. Like I'm not one to say no much. I'm usually one that goes, hey, there's some opportunity in that. Let's go figure out what that opportunity is.
Love that, love that. It's really every successful people, of course, it's not just a one-man team. There's like always people behind, like working hand in hand in that. So what are your thoughts in like the importance of delegation in everyday tasks that you have, of course, with the myriad of responsibilities that you have as a CEO?
Yeah, it's a great question. I'll go back for 1 minute, but yeah, it's like they say, go fast alone, go farther together, right? And I'm a big believer in that quote and statement. But to your question about what is my leverage? What is my sorry, I was missed that question.
Yeah, like what are your thoughts with like, of course, with like the many or myriad of tasks that you have in day to day, like
Mhm.
do you have like what are your thoughts in like the importance of delegation in leveraging your business?
Yeah, I think it's really important as you are different levels of your business. To me, you always need leverage in some capacity. I'm also a big lead with revenue first. I don't want to go hire 22 people to start a job when I haven't made a dollar yet. I don't think that makes sense. I think you need to go make some money first and then reconstitute that money back into your business, which is hiring more leverage. So now you can 2x, 3x, 4x, 5x your business. And even if 2x, 3x, 4x isn't your goal, giving you time back and your quality of life is just as important, in my opinion,
Mhm.
right? So you have to balance that as making more money and also getting time back. So when I look at that, I always have looked at it as I want to know how to do almost everything in my business because that gives me a good mindset and framework of like if I'm asking somebody to do something, I want to know what that entails and looks like personally. So that way I can fairly evaluate them. I can go, hey, I've been there, I've done that, and you're performing at this level, good, bad, or indifferent, because I've done that before. I don't want to just take work I don't want to do and just throw it at people because that's not fair either. So I think it's really important to figure out what is the best pieces of leverage that'll give you your time back. So I think Justin always really nails it when he's like, what is your dollar per hour? Right? What is your worth? If you're worth $200 an hour, $400 an hour, whatever it is, you shouldn't probably be doing tasks that you wouldn't pay somebody to do that with, right? And I think he mentions that quite frequently. So if I'm handwriting letters, right, I don't know that that's a great use of my time. I can use an intern or a VA or somebody like that, right, to do that, because I don't know that I would pay somebody $400 an hour to do that in the real world, right? So, which is really maybe what my time is worth.
Love that. Yeah, I totally agree with that. It's really having that personal touch with your business as well, like really having that hands-on work with or familiarity with all of the things that going on with the business, and that was really great. And yeah, you mentioned about having a virtual assistant, and yeah, of course, in this digital age, virtual assistants is becoming increasingly common, especially in the real estate industry. So have you ever had a virtual assistant, and how did they help you leverage your business?
Yeah, great question. So I'll go back just because I'm an old guy. When I used to work at IBM, honestly, one of my final jobs the last 7 years was we were going through this globalization, right? And globalization meant work was being moved overseas, not just in the US or in some of the Western countries. So our job was to take a lot of administrative tasks and document the processes that our US labor force was doing and move those to Malaysia, India, Hungary, some of these other countries that we could basically, give them some business and some opportunity and grow their economies, shall we say, and grow their skill sets and do it at a lower cost, right, than what we were paying U.S. labor force here. So I had that background. I never had a vision of running a virtual assistant company, however, but I at least understood what this globalization kind of effect was. And so when Justin had this great idea, I was like, that's a fantastic idea. That's absolutely where the world is going and has been going for a period of time. So for me, I jumped on with him as far as just getting some leverage, because I started to think about like, hey, I can just run my PH online or whatever and try to find these folks. And I'm like, nah, I'm not smart enough to figure out who's scamming me and who who may be submitting false applications and all of this stuff. So I'm like, I don't want to go through that headache. If somebody else already has the system and the process to find me real vetted clients, I don't want to spend my time doing that. I'm willing to pay somebody to do that, which obviously is something SphereRocket provides. And the necessary candidates. So to answer your question, yes, currently we have, I think it's 4 virtual assistants. I call them our international partners as much as I can. I think it's really important to put them as part of your partnership, just like you would be your US-based folks or your agent partners, things like that. Everybody's kind of a partner in my business. So our international team really looks like it's 2. Well, I have a video editor. I have a social media manager. I have a listing manager. And then we just started to spread out into some other states. And so we're providing value to them with some more leverage and some part-time virtual assistant support for social media for their companies and things like that. So I'd say like I have 4.5 virtual assistants right now.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And yeah, I agree with you, like with calling them international partners. That was really great to have them like business partners instead of like having them like working with you. And yeah, I agree to that. And how could you from scale of 1 to 10, how could you rate the experience of having international partners to help you scale your business as of the moment?
Oh yeah, I would say it's probably right at that 9-ish is where I'd probably put it, only because I never give anything a 10 because I always think that things can always be improved.
Mhm.
And I would say, it's been really great for us. And especially, my history from the start was kind of my wife started working for me just because that was really cheap labor because she didn't cost anything to support the business, right? So income coming in and I wasn't having to pay for that service, shall we say. And obviously I had Justin at the time. He was working for the team when we first started, and he was doing a lot of the social media content for us just because he was at a younger age and knew how to do those things a little better than I did. And he had time to study YouTube and figure out like what's all the things that are actually working in today's model. But again, that was like 12 years ago, right? So things have changed since then. But I would say like for us, I started with one US-based main person hire, which was my transaction coordinator, which was documented all my systems and processes. We were also a team that was not just staying and selling real estate in one city. We were going across an entire state. So we had agents across several hundred miles of area covering things. So as we built those systems and processes in-house, that's when we brought an international team in and said, okay, like we've got all the systems and processes filled out. Now I understand moving forward, the international team, each time we create a new department, they are absolutely creating those processes and standard operating procedures. But back then, my comfort level was US based to really get this foundation built strongly. And once we built that foundation, now we could basically train everybody else because it goes back to what I said. I want to do it first so I know what we're doing. and what I'm asking others to do. And now we brought our international team in to say, okay, how do we scale this? How do we grow this? How do we support this? And that's why you see video editor, social media manager, and a listing manager, and basically an executive admin, if you will. So, and each of those obviously are different roles and different lanes and different responsibilities, so, and different expectations. So.
Yeah, that's really great. And yeah, as you, of course, as you grow, you also grow your team to, of course, help you with leveraging your business and scaling your business. And as you mentioned earlier, you've reached a lot of achievements when it comes to your business and been recognized for 3 years in a row. And of course, no business journey is without challenges, of course. So can you share to us like the hardest thing that ever happened to you in in your real estate career, and what was the biggest lesson that you have learned from it?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge that we've had was we've been in it for 12, 13 years. We really haven't seen a sizable market shift. And so that was a new experience for me. When you work with the corporate world, you're basically just assuming you have a job every day, show up and get paid. You don't necessarily worry about what the surrounding market does as long as you got a job and you're getting paid. Obviously, you don't control if the market goes bad enough and the company starts letting people go, you might be on that hit list of being let go. I think where I learned it was a lot different is when the market shifted here as the owner, you're kind of have a lot of pressure because your responsibility on how you manage the business impacts everybody. If you don't manage the business to the best that you can, all your international partners will be let go because you don't have any money coming in. Your US based people will be let go. So the pressure is on you to actually figure out solutions to today's problems. If not, you have a lot of families, fairly rightly or not or wrongly, they still bank on you to be able to earn a paycheck, right? And so my decisions impact everybody in the organization, and it's a lot of pressure. And what I learned from that is, we've had some tough months. We've had a tough year and a half with the market being where it's at. I have not let any of our international partners go. We have maintained the current strength of numbers that we've had. In fact, we've even grown by one or two. However, I have had to have some impact on the U.S. labor force, and we have had to let a couple of those go. I think for me, the biggest lesson learned is you have to manage the business to the market. And sometimes that requires making tough decisions, which means letting some people go. And being able to leverage economies of scale, which would be obviously the workforce on the international side, gives us kind of a 4-to-1, right? I mean, we can utilize 4 international people to 1 US labor force person and able to grow and still grow our business and be spending the same or less money.
Love that. Yeah, being able to make hard decisions is really one of the best traits of being a leader, of course, and also making decisions for your business. And yeah, and now reflecting on your growth since you've started with the real estate industry, is there something you wish that you had known initially when you still growing your business in when you were still starting?
Yeah, I think for me it was a lot of. I think I did a great job of being as a more senior or experienced person in life. I knew to early on to lean into others, like learning from others, and knowledge was key. And so for me, it was really really getting in conversations with people that are just 1 or 2 steps above wherever I was at that moment, and really learning from them instead of learning everything the hard way, learning from them. But you still will, sometimes your ego gets in the way and you'll be like, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I think we can still do it differently and be better. And we learned that perhaps we should have listened to that wisdom of the others. And so we have been, I think one of the struggles that I have is I'm one of those innovator type people, and my joy comes out of coming up with new ideas, coming up with new processes, coming up with new ingenious things that aren't always the most ingenious. They just feel like they're ingenious at the moment. And so I think for me, I've got a great integrator that actually happens to be a US based hire that's been with us for 6 years. She does a great job of like, hey, let's ask the right questions to make sure that you're not just thinking fun, this is a cool project, but it's actually a project that's sustainable and can actually make money.
Yeah, that was really great. I agree to that. And yeah, listening to more experts, sometimes you don't need to learn from your experience, but sometimes you can learn from experience of others as well. And yeah, that was really great. And yeah, with beyond your financial success right now, of course, with your expertise and the success that your business had, so beyond financial success, what drives you to do what you do right now in the real estate industry?
It's always sounds cliche, but I'm truly like a servant minded person. I want to see other people succeed. So that's why you see me coach. The gal that works on our team that I would keep referring to for the last 6 years was to help her grow a business. So she now owns a transaction coordinator company in partnership with me, right? So some of these things is just trying to help other people grow for their families and to be able to pour back into investing into properties as employees and purchasing. She was able to get her first home, right, with guidance from what she's learned from the business and the team and things like that. So I think that's really what's important to me is, helping others succeed, yet not everybody wants that to succeed. So that's always the challenge is you can lead the horse to water, but you can't make the horse drink it, right? And so I think that's where I've gotten a little bit better to really dial in on who is talk and who's actually action. If you're action, then let's go and let's run together, because I look at partnerships. If I'm running hard, you got to be running hard. And if you're running hard, I better be running hard, or else we have this opposite pull, and then there's animosity. And if I'm running hard and you're not, then I'm going to not be very happy about that. And I'm going to feel
Yeah.
like you're not doing what you're supposed to do. And we're going to end up divorcing each other, for lack of better terms, right? And saying this isn't a good partnership because one of us is running harder than the other. There's too much animosity, and that's not a recipe for success.
I totally agree with that because energy is contagious, and you have to really surround yourself with people who are like-minded and has the same values as you. So you mentioned, Sir Mike, about coaching. So can you talk a little bit about how does coaching happen in real estate business? Because of course, I've known some coaches in the personal development industry, so it's a bit new to me too, like no coach in the real estate. So how does that work?
Yeah, so that goes back to the previous brokerage I was at. I was able to go get certified as one of their top kind of coaches. It was like 300 people in a 160,000 person organization that was able to become a coach. So went and took the training on that. So that was really great and awesome, and had the credentials within that company. Didn't necessarily translate once we left that company. But with that being said, like, it was really great to learn, because a lot of coaching used to be, in my mind, and a lot of people will say they're coaches, but really what they are doing is just telling people what to do. True coaching is helping you discover within what you need to do. Like, you need to self-discover it by me asking the right questions versus me saying, hey, sweet, you need to get off today's call and go read a 10-page book, right? That's not really coaching, right? That's more telling you what to do. So I think in real estate, it became, once we hit certain levels and we had credentials of our success, it allowed us to get into rooms that perhaps we weren't able to get into before. And now I was able to coach people for towards their real estate. See, I'm more of a business coach. I would say I'm not a transformation coach. Like mindset and all that is kind of part of business coaching, but I don't get too deep into the mindset. I'm more like the business coach that's like, what are your goals? Let's lay out a plan, and then let's check in every week on how are you doing against that plan. That's more my style, as opposed to, hey, what's in your head today? Let's unmess your head up, right? Let's fix it. Let's get better. Like, I leave that to other experts, because that mental stuff is super important. Like, no, but that's not necessarily my skill set. So
Amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, thanks for sharing your expertise with coaching. Yeah. So for now, with our listeners who are aspiring to achieve the level of success that you have, what is the number one piece of advice that you want to give them?
I think, like, we have core values in our business, and a couple of those core values are like integrity, right? It's servanthood, like serve others first, right? If you serve others, the rest of the stuff will come. If you make it about yourself, it's not going to happen. Be coachable, right? Those are, I know you only asked for one, but I'm just going through my core values because everybody in my organization has got to stack up to these, or else they won't be in my organization for long, or they won't get into my organization. So being coachable is another one, right? That's really important to me, is to be able to say, hey, if you're signing up to partner with us or coach with us or whatever, it only makes sense that you're coachable. But if I'm giving you coaching advice and you're not executing on it, then how do we expect to change, right? Is our patterns going to change? Is our success going to change? Are our behaviors going to change? If the answer is no, if you're not willing to be coachable.
Love that. There's no harm in trying, right? And when you fail, fail forward. That's one thing that I've got from what you said. And yeah, and before we proceed to our lightning round, Sir Mike, how can our listeners, specifically, of course, in Colorado, can reach out to you, or what's the best way for them to contact you?
Oh, that's a great question. Everything from our Facebook social media pages to we got a link tree out there on our social media pages. I would say those are probably the best ways to get a hold of me, because we have TikToks, Instagrams, you name it. So yeah, go out to our Instagram page or our LinkedIn page or our probably our Facebook page. And honestly, that's probably the best way to reach us. So.
Love that. Love that. Thank you for sharing all of your stories and insights. And yeah, before we proceed to our next segment, let's have a quick commercial.
Overwhelmed with work? Well, meet your new partner from Sphere Rocket VA. In just a click, get matched with a virtual assistant who handles all the tedious tasks. No in-person hiring, no extra office gear, just easy online help from our recruitment team. It's like having an extra pair of hands minus the hassle. So ready to relax and see your work done just like magic? Choose Sphere Rocket VA and visit us at www.sphererocketva.com.
Okay, and we're back still here with Sir Mike, and it's time for our lightning round. So, Sir Mike, lightning round are just quick and fun questions. So, just one word or one phrase answers to this question. So, yeah, are you ready?
Let's go.
Love that. Okay, so what is your favorite business book?
Oh, great question. I think it is going to be, wow, I've got so many. That's a great one. I like Millionaire Messenger. It's a unique one. It's Brandon Bouchard. And basically it's learning how to get up and publicly speak and grow that business. So if you want to become a speaker, it just really teaches you how to be able to get to different stages and how to build your content and things of that nature. So go with Millionaire Messenger.
Love that. Okay, and favorite influencer or coach?
I'm more like the aggressive style. So I do like the kind of the John Cheplaks. A lot of people that he's not their cup of tea, but for me, like I like that aggressive style of, hey, you said you're going to do what you're going to do. You didn't. So I'm calling you out on it. And that's probably just my military background. I don't necessarily like people yelling at me and belittling me, but I like people that are like, dude, you didn't do what you said you're going to do. I hope you feel like crap.
Yeah, holding them accountable, of
Yeah.
course. Yeah, and favorite lead generation method?
Oh yeah, networking, big time for me. I spend more time on the road every year, getting to know other real estate agents, other business owners, and that's been huge for me. Is 100% is getting in rooms. I think teaching up on stage is helpful because it's you get to talk to 200 people in one conversation, as opposed to having 200 individual conversations. So those two things, networking and putting myself up on stage to be able to talk to people.
Great stuff. Yeah, and can you share to us some of your biggest goal for 2024 business
Oh,
wise?
2024, really, yeah. We're looking at, I mean, man, we're growing all kinds of things. We're kind of got this unannounced military referral company that we're working on right now. I can't get into too many details, but that's going to be a nationwide thing that's going to be really cool. We want to grow our transaction coordinator company to multiple states. Right now we're in 2 or 3. We want to get into 5 or 6 states. I just recently got my license in Arizona, so I'm in a couple of states where I practice real estate, so I'm trying to grow that. This goes back to that. I'm chasing like 22 different things, so this is how we roll. So we're honestly, one of my admins is working on getting ClickFunnels certified, so we can start running some of that. And lastly, we run a coaching company with a lady by the name of Jennifer Virginia as a business partner, and that's called Thrive Legacy Community. And we are continuing to grow that. So real estate production, growing our teams, transaction coordination company, our coaching company, and perhaps and in the military referral network that we're building. So the 4 big goals in our place for 2024.
Amazing, amazing. That was really great. And yeah, looking forward to seeing your goals come to life. And yeah, and what is your best Amazon purchase?
My best Amazon purchase. Actually, you know what? Actually, Justin bought it, but I would say he went through Amazon. So I'm going to go with that. It was a portable hot tub.
Wow. Have you been using it?
I have been, because I'm old and my back is like shot. So I'm like in it every day, in the morning and in the evening. And sometimes I might even smoke a cigar in there at night just to relax before I go to bed. So best purchase ever. Wasn't by me, but it was through Justin, and it was probably through Amazon. So I'm going to go with that.
Love that. Love that. And yeah, thank you so much, Sir Mike, for joining us today. It's been a pleasure having you here in our podcast. And yeah, I wish you your continued success.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time and giving me a platform to have a conversation on.
Yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, there you have it, friends. Hope you learned from this episode. Don't forget to leave a comment and hit that subscribe button so you will never miss an episode. As always, if you have suggestions for future topics or guests, drop us a message. We love hearing from you. Again, my name is Sweet, and until next time, stay inspired and keep building those spheres of success.
Feeling the difference with Sphere Rocket VA? Tasks are flying off your list, and there's more me time in your day. And guess what? It's all super affordable. Yes, you heard right. Our virtual assistants aren't just amazing at what they do, they're easy on your wallet too. No more stress over emails or schedules. With Sphere Rocket VA, you get your time back and keep your budget happy. Ready for simpler, affordable workdays? Head on over to www.sphererocketva.com. Join us at Sphere Rocket VA, where every day is easy and easy on your budget.